Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode on my channel. If you've never been on my channel, I just make videos about whatever I want to. And today we are breaking down Final Cut Pro and how to edit for social media and why it's important to do so and all those lovely things. I'm using Final Cut. I'm not going to waste any of your time. If you've never seen Final Cut, this is the user interface. Honestly, it is the best option that I could give you as a beginner next to iMovie or HitFilm Express, which are both free. Why I say that is because you're only paying one time for Final Cut. It's $300 up front in the Mac App Store. Your other option is Premiere Pro, which is going to be a monthly or a yearly billing subscription that will quite literally carry on with you for life. And so, Final Cut Pro, it's easy to use, it's simple, it is also advanced. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and for social media purposes, I mean, it is one of the best running things. This is, iOS specific, so if you don't have a Mac or a, Apple computer, you're going to have to live with the other option, which is Premiere Pro, or you can try to find something else. I would prefer HitFilm Express if you are a beginner. So, we're jumping in here, and I want to start off, if you've never seen Final Cut Pro, we pretty much have our events on the left side. Inside those events, over a little bit to the right, you have your projects, and then you have your little bits of media. So you have your clips, and you have your images. If you have images, you also will have, stock videos, whatever you put into one of these projects, which we have here. And so eventually at the end of this video, you're going to see an extensive look into how I got a video to look like this. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to come over to our events. If you don't have a current event, you should probably right click and you could go to new event. But because I already have my event that I want to use, I'm going to go to the Mr. Beast thing and I'm going to go to new project. And this is going to allow me to add in the YouTube project. And what we're going to do, we're going to name it YouTube example. And so I'm going to take a pause real here because I want you to take a look. Right underneath the actual project name, we have video. In the format it's going to come in. Usually you're going to have 1080 HP and you're going to 1080p HD, sorry about that. And you're going to have to come down here to vertical. For social media, it is a 9:16 aspect ratio, up and down. We also call that portrait mode, which is not the same thing as landscape. And if you do keep it at landscape, your video is going to come up funny when you post it. So make sure it's on vertical. And then the resolution will automatically set to the 720 by 1280. You're going to move to 1080 by 1920. And this just adds a little bit more quality. It's an HD feel. And as far as the frame rate, I would just keep it right here at 30 frames per second. We're not filming any cinematic footage. And we're also not trying to get that cream glossy look that some of that 60 FPS has. And rendering, we're going to keep this here. And we're going to keep all that stuff. Okay. So once we have our new project open, you're going to have to double click on it. So YouTube example, and what you will see is this black box. Let me adjust this to fit. So you're gonna come up with something that looks like this. I would suggest following along if you can. It's just pretty much a black box. And so what you need to do now is go up to the top left where there's this little drop down arrow, and you're going to import media. So we can import pretty much anything. I can import this, YouTube screen recording of my laptop that I was doing yesterday, or of this, whatever this is, which is also part of that video, I think. And we're just going to go, once you find your clip, usually you can look over in your different various libraries, but once you find the clip that you want to import, you're going to go click on it and you're going to import selected. And that's going to drop down into underneath your project. You won't have all this media, obviously, but you're going to have that one clip. And so once you find that one clip, I'm pretty sure it is this one. Yes, you're going to drag that from the project down into the timeline, which will then appear here. Now, immediately off the bat, you see that in this vertical landscape, which is going to be how it appears on your phone, there's black boxes above and below, and your landscape video is right in between. That is because the aspect ratio hasn't been adjusted, so the best fix to do this before you get into editing anything is just clicking, making sure that this box is selected, coming up here to the top right to transform, pressing this box here, which is going to allow you to transform the video, and then cropping that in and pulling that so that it gets to fit the whole screen. You will also see, if you zoom out a little bit, let's zoom out, you can see that it will eventually, make a yellow line when it clicks right there, and that's how you know it's flush with the bottom, and depending on how the clip is made, it might be even flush with the side. So, depending on what your clip looks like, you might want to move this around a little bit. So I might want to focus on the Mr. Beast logo, which will allow me to zoom in a little bit more, push it over to the left, and you're going to have to play around with this as much as you see fit. But when you get the image to look the way that you want it to, just come up here and press done, and now you're moving off of the transform back into the select. Another thing I will add, which is if you're new to Final Cut Pro, this little waveform thing will need to be turned off because it's auto skimming. And what that does, it gets very annoying very quickly. You're pretty much skimming through the audio at live time, and I just turned that off so I can skim through the clip, see what the footage is looking like without having to hear my own voice, because God, I hate that. Okay, so now that we're down to cropping in our clip. Why don't we go Command plus? You hit that as many times as you need to zoom in on the timeline. And once you're here, now we can start editing. The first step to editing is kind of cutting out all the junk that you don't want in it. And then we can go in, add the sound effects, add the captions, add the images, the videos to make it really look and pop. But the first thing is just cutting out all the crap. So the biggest command you're going to use on your Mac is Command B. We call this blade. And so when you do Command B on a clip, it is going to add this like blade that segments off whatever was before it to everything that's after it. And this is really good because let's imagine there's this huge dead space right here. You don't want that anymore? Great. Now that it's selected, you can delete that. So let's say that the whole clip that you want is just this one waveform, right? So we're going to come to the end of wherever you want it. You're going to Command B again. You're going to move forward in the timeline, right? And you're going to Command B. So now you have this little segment here. So if I zoom in with the Command plus, you can see that this is just dead space. We don't want that here. So once you have this selected, just delete that. And to zoom out, you just do Command minus. Boom, boom, boom. And so now look, we don't have that dead space. And you're just going to keep repeating that throughout the clip. Command B, Command B. Or maybe if you're swearing, you don't want that in there, you can cut it out. Another option you have when you do the Command B, right? So let me zoom in. Let's imagine in this clip right here, I'm swearing. I'm saying the F word. You don't want to do it, but you don't want to cut it out either. You can drop the volume to 0. And then later on, when I add and talk about sound effects, you can add a sound effects right above it. Let's just say it's a punching noise. So let's play that back, see what that sounds like.
Channel do not exist.
Boom. Sweet. Okay, so I would not use a punch sound effect, but it's the only one I had available. Maybe like a technical difficulties one. Who knows? So zoom out again. Repeat this process over and over and over again. And once you're done with that, then we can move on to the next phase. All right. I don't really want to, cut all this stuff out. I'm just going to add to the next phase. So let's imagine you cut out all of this stuff in your clip. You have this whole thing segmented up into a million different pieces. Now you really want to get into the nitty gritty. Before you add music, sound effects, or anything like that, what I would do is suggest adding captions. The cool thing about Final Cut Pro is there's two options you have, manual captions or automatic captions. So we're going to start with manual. I'm going to make a whole different video about that, but pretty much the whole thing is going up into your text options, searching for custom, dropping that into the timeline. Now you have this title right here. If you go into here, you can go up and you can change this text option. You can change the font. And I'm going really fast because I'm going to make a whole separate video on this, so stay tuned for that. And you can type whatever you want in here. Hi, my name is Alex. And you can even tab and lower that into a separate line, size this down. And if you can't see the text, that's fine because we're going to add an outline. You're going to pop that sucker down. You're going to change this color, probably to black. Boom. Okay, sweet. And then you still can't see it, not until you add the width of the actual, outline. Perfect. So we have text. So the best thing to do, and this is the tedious part, if the cutting wasn't tedious enough, is to add manually every single word in this entire timeline until you have words that, if I jump over to the other clip that I've already actually edited, that literally follow everything that you say. Mr. Beast has Mr. Beast 3 channel now. I don't know. How did I do that? There's a lot of text here. Well, I actually use a tool. It's called Captionator. So if you don't want to manually type in your text, I know that you probably won't. Eventually, maybe you will. Who knows? I would go into the top right corner to where you're about to export and use Captionator. You won't have this option because you have to purchase this. It is $20 in the Mac App Store. You're going to have to open it, install it, and I will show you the setup for that. But once you do install it, it will pop up here and it appears, And basically when you click this button, you're going to be able to select your font. You're going to be able to, actually, I'll just run you through it. Okay. So you click this, it shows you the clip. You just pretty much say next, and you wait and wait and wait. And you will get the option when it pops up to ultimately select the font, select the title, select the colors, all that. And it will, to its best ability, ready, auto caption the entire clip. So guys, I hope that you're enjoying this. If you do, pop me a like, add a little subscribe. It doesn't hurt the channel. It just helps it. And it shows me that you guys want more content like this. Okay, so perfect. Here we go. So style, we're going to pop this little bad boy down. I actually have a Mr. Beast specific title option, but pretty much you will have this one option where it's just simple. You can add custom options here. I'm going to break that down in another video. Once you're done, you generate it. You have to save it as a file type in your library. You select the actual library you want it in. I just wanted that one. And then it loads, and you will see that it opens a new event called Generated Captions. You click that, and you have all these wonderful captions. Now you're going to select the entirety of the clip. You're going to Command-C, pop back over to your project, YouTube example, go to the beginning part of the timeline where the text audio starts, and you can Command-V. Now, as I move through this entire thing, you will see all the actual, captions will follow along with what I'm saying. You will notice some of the words don't actually line up. Some of the words aren't right. This thing isn't perfect. So you're going to have to go in and manually change them. Some of them will be a little bit too big, so you might have to click on them and size them down so that they fit within the parameters of the actual aspect ratio. Boom, you see that? So pretty. I love it. And yeah, once you get your video, you watch it a bunch of times. I've created a library of sound effects down here. This is pretty much just going to allow you to, add a little bit more emphasis and depth into your videos. These are some pretty basic ones. I've got them from Epidemic Sound, which is a common, sound library that all the YouTubers use. You can use pretty much anything. You can go onto YouTube and screen record sound effects. There's thousands of them. They even have sound effects in this library here. If I go to this thing right here, I go to sound effects, and you can get rid of that search, but you can search whatever you want. If you want bubbles, they have bubbles. Drone, they have the whole library of sound effects themselves. I wouldn't really recommend it. They don't have the best ones. I'm not really happy with their selection, but there are some good ones. If you want sitcom laughing, you can drag that right onto the timeline, and you got a bunch of people laughing. Sweet. So once you have some sound effects, and you're going to probably want a music track. Now, this is probably what some editors will say is the hardest part. I actually love finding music for videos. Depending on the mood you want to put this video in, you're going to add a music track over it. The track that you're listening to right now doesn't have a music track because I don't really want it to. It's an educational clip, and for all purposes, you just are trying to learn things as fast as possible, implement them, and utilize the strategies. So let's say you want intense strings for whatever reason. You're going to find your audio clip. You're going to press this arrow, import it, and you're going to drag it, not above, but below your timeline. I don't actually think it makes a difference, but now you can all, see how this music is running. If your clip is shorter than the actual music, come to the end of the clip, click it, Command-B, add a blade, and then delete that, and you'll see this gray box appears. This is a placeholder. It will go as long as the music was going. You're just going to delete that real quick. And now you don't have anything to select, and your video is still running at 27 seconds. So perfect. Let's imagine this is the full video that I want to export, which it's not, but I'm going to go over to the actual one I will export, Beast Burger, and you will have a bunch of your clips. So this is what a good edit should probably look like. You have a little bit of a transition. I had it a zoom right in the beginning. I have a transition, a slide right here. I have another slide. Well, that's a drop in, but then I have a fall, and then I have a slide here, boom, and another zoom in. So, you play around. And if you want to know where the transition stuff is, so we have all the way over to the right, if you're following my eyes, we have transitions here, and these are installed transitions. You can also import transitions. I don't really want to play with that. There's 118 here. You got enough. And then to the left of that button is your installed effects. So this has everything under the sun. We also have keying. If you like to use green screens, you have a Luma key, and you also have a regular key for chroma, which is, the green screen. And you can do a lot of stuff with these effects. Honestly, I don't really play around with it too much, but I do like the keying option, and there are some mask options which are also pretty cool if you want to play around with those. Text effects, I've never seen this actually. This is kind of cool. But anyway, if you guys liked that video, I just want to, show you guys how to edit a video for social media. I hope that this helps. The only thing you're going to do next, once you're done with your video, is come up here, export Apple devices 4K. You're going to name the file. You also want to make sure that it's not too big of a file. This is a pretty small file, 24 megabytes. And you press next. You name it whatever you want. Select your folder, save. And what I like to do is once I get my file saved, and you'll notice in the top left, there's this like little progress bar. It's a circle. As this thing starts to save, little chunks will start to fill in, and it will fill in the whole circle. But once I get my clip into, I already have the clip downloaded. Once I get my clip into my folder, right? Let's just say it's this one. You just right click, share. I like to airdrop it straight to my phone. It really helps. But anyway, guys, I love you all, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.